Tonight is a really special treat. I didn't realize, I was just told that it's been 4 years since they've been back, and doesn't see 3, okay. Because I was thinking, man, am I getting that old? But yes. Anyway, please welcome Deb and Don, D Squared.
Thanks, Joey. So, unless you know our catalog, there's a good chance this is the only song that we'll play the whole night that you're going to recognize. So, I hope you enjoy it.
Peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I can't have the one I love, won't have none at all. Wish I had a banjo string made of golden twine. Every tune I'd pluck on it, just wish the girl was mine. Shady Grove, my true love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my true love, going back to Harlan. My pretty-eyed girl, fly around my daisy, fly around my pretty-eyed girl, nearly drive me crazy. Cheeks as red as a bloomin' rose, eyes pretty as brown. She's a darling of my heart, the sweetest girl in town. Shady Grove, my true love, Shady Grove, I say, Shady Grove, my true love, bound to go away. Wish I had a big fine horse and corn to feed him on, and a pretty little girl to stay at home and feed him when I'm gone. Once I had a muley cow, muley when she's born. Took a jaybird 40 years to fly from horn to horn. Shady Grove, my true love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my true love, going back to Harlan. Shady Grove, my true love, Shady Grove, I know, Shady Grove, my true love, bound for the Shady Grove. Thanks.
Thank you.
When I was a kid, I was absolutely, without a doubt, the most horse-crazy kid you would have ever run into. I loved everything about horses. I've lived, breathed, dreamt, ate. Well, I didn't eat horses, but I even wanted to be a horse. And I would draw pictures of how a human being would morph between a human into a horse. So in 5th grade, my best friend had a donkey, and that was close enough.
And you married an ass.
I did not say that.
The theme.
So this donkey was not very big. She was only, well, about 36 inches tall. And really mean and surly. And it required 2 people to make this donkey go any faster than pokey old walk. So if you wanted to lope, it took two people to do this. One would ride, kicking and spurring and whipping and carrying on. The other person would run behind the donkey, bouncing up and down on the top of its rear end to make it buck. And once it started bucking, then it would lope. And since that required so much work to take this donkey out for a ride, sometimes we just entertain ourselves in the corral where she stayed by chasing her around. Well, one would be out in front baiting her because she would run after you with teeth bared. She was very mean. And then the other person would run behind the donkey, bouncing up and down to make her break into a gallop. And pretty soon she'd be going faster and faster, whipping around this corral and work herself up into this fine head of steam, and all of a sudden she'd go, ah, 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 and she goes racing around this corral. And then as suddenly as it all happened, she would just stop, and then her ears would come up. And that would be the end of the game. So I wrote this little tune called Lopin' the Donkey.
Anybody in here not had their heart broken? Good. Then I won't have to explain. No, just once. It only needs to happen once. And everybody's got a story, right? So this is mine. Met her in Ohio on a farm both worked. She was there brushing colts, I was just playing in the dirt. We had a running joke, we shared probably sexual at the time. I don't think she really noticed, I don't think I was really trying, just a weird little girl. I don't know just how it happened, but somehow we hitched up. We had a lot in common, we had a lot more never would match up. And she could make me so damn mad I'd slam the walls and cuss. Then other times I'd look across the room and love her so much I could bust. Weird little girl. Sometimes things will work themselves out, and sometimes they work you into a spot. And ours was down by the racetrack in a Safeway parking lot. We cut our final deal there, cut the deck real deep. Yeah, I was just trying to keep from crying. She was catatonic on the seat, just a weird little girl. Only seen her once since then, I was standing right beside her, stealing looks out of the corner of my eye, I didn't hardly recognize her. And sometimes I run the roads down south and keep a lookout for a track. But the desert's so worn, the edges down, and I doubt she'd be coming back, just a weird little girl.
We saw Cherish the Ladies, right around St. Paddy's Day. And they've been going around the country doing a lot of shows playing with symphonies behind them. And, you know, it's a lovely sort of traditional Celtic women's group. And the lead singer got up and sang this wonderful, very simple but very plaintive song, and the whole symphony was playing behind her, and I thought, just the juxtaposition of simple folk against this very formal setting with very formal players, and how much courage it took to just stand up there and be what you are and do what you do, no matter how simple that is. So I wrote a song recently Actually, I started it that night while she was singing it. I was writing in the program, but finished it recently. And it speaks to being the best, whatever it is you are, no matter how simple that may be, called If I Was. If I was a little bird, a sparrow sure I'd be, a tiny voice, a simple song, but happy would I be to sing most joyously. And if I was a bumblebee, buzzing round the flowers in pantaloons of pollen sweet, I'd while away the hours dancing with the flowers. And if I was a common moth, no fancy flattered by wings, I'd powder softly through the night to fragrant offerings, and what the moon might bring. Each has a name here, each has a place here, each one under the sun, a part of forever, a part and together, a part of everyone. If I was a dandelion amongst the roses rare, a sunny face plucked from the earth to weave into your hair, embrayed with ribbons fair. And if I was a blade of grass growing straight and tall, the prairie beast that thundered by would love me best of all, to feed the summer all. And if I was a bit of clay with shiny specks of sand, I'd bless the fires of the kiln and bend beneath the hand of artists great and grand. Thank you. Thank you.
So a couple of years ago, we did, about 20 years ago,
7.
we did a winter tour of schools of the great northern plains. Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, northern Iowa, a little bit of Minnesota in the wintertime. From starting the 1st of February, it was a 3.5-month tour, and we would do 2 to 3 shows a day at your local school. Just blow in and do a 45-minute set. Didn't matter if you were K through 12, whatever it was. And actually, there was a lot of K through 12 schools up there, which was kind of an interesting phenomenon. And frankly, we were scared out of our wits. We're from Arizona, and we had a pretty old van at the time. And the idea of spending 3.5 months in the Great Plains playing music to school kids was just pretty damned exciting to us. But we were a little concerned when we'd drive through these towns, and these are pretty much all small towns. It's pretty much all they have up there. You drive through this town in our little gray van, and everybody knows everybody's vehicle that's local, like within, let's say 100 miles, probably they're going to recognize the vehicle. And our vehicle would come down the street like this, and you could see it on their face. You could read their lips. They go like, they're all looking, you know. And in Arizona, we only have to have our license plate on the back, so they can't see what it is that's coming at them. So look at us kind of like this, go. And you could read their lips. Arizona? What the hell are you doing up here? Which was a good question. But,
Making tens of dollars.
yeah, well, that's a whole different story. But the interesting thing about, I mean, nobody in his right mind is going to tour the Great Plains in the winter, right? You have to be there for something else. So it was a very interesting geography lesson, and I think way differently about this country and that country in particular than I used to. You would think driving through it, flying over it, there couldn't be anybody living here. You look out, there's a few roads, you know, maybe there's a house or farm or something, ranch way out there, little towns with, you know, maybe 200 people in them, something like that. But when you're dealing with a school system, they're busing them. I mean, they might have a school of 200 kids, but they might be busing them for 100 miles, you know. The point of this is there's people everywhere. There's people scattered everywhere. But as we were driving around in a kind of a sea of white, and I can tell you, it doesn't actually snow up there more than once. We never saw, in 3.5 months, we never saw, in the Dakotas anyway, we never saw it actually snow. We saw snow blowing at all times. And here's another truth about the Dakotas, is that wherever you're going, you're driving into a headwind. Doesn't matter. Where you just drove to the school, you're driving into a headwind. When you drive away from the school, still driving into a headwind. I don't get it, but it's some trick.
Sea of white.
And there are not a lot of trees in that country. And we saw more birds of prey than I believe I've ever seen in my life. Hawks, falcons, eagles, owls. Owls in the daytime should be up in a tree someplace hiding, you know, but there's no trees to hide in, so they're up there hiding on a telephone pole or a fence post. And, you know, the owl is kind of a bird of death, you know, symbolizes death a little bit. And we were pretty sure we were going to die at any minute. So the second of these tunes that we're going to play for you is called Owl Song, and it came out of that experience. And the first one is called El Dia de los Muertos, which of course is the Mexican Day of the Dead, El Dia de los Muertos. And it's a much happier holiday than it might sound like. It's when all the dearly departed get to come back and cavort for one 24-hour period on the earth. And that's a pretty happy time for them, and could be for us too. So first one, El Dia de los Muertos, and the second one, Owl Song. You are lost on your way on the glory, shorn like a lamb in the cold, where no angels dare trumpet their story, for the depth of the night is untold. Oh, the path lies in beauty before us, feathered wings whisper softly in flight. We are guiding your way through the forest, where the shadow that cries to the night. Do not question the faith that has brought you. In this darkness there's nowhere to hide. We are sent by the ones who hath wrought you, entrusted with your final ride. Oh, the path lies in beauty before us, feathered wings whisper softly in flight. We are guiding your way through the forest, where the shadow that cries to the night. With talons of steel we will hold you. You've no need to fear the fall. Let the breath of the night winds enfold you. It's just your turn, answer the call. Oh, the path lies in beauty before us, feathered wings whisper softly in flight. We are guiding your way through the forest, where the shadow that cries to the night will be guiding your soul to the light. Yeah, something good came out of that trip. It wasn't money. I'd like to thank you, Bay Area residents, for planning winter for us from Arizona. It was awfully nice of you to have that for us. And
We've had a long, hot summer.
yeah,
This is really lovely. Oh, except I didn't bring enough clothes. I had to go shopping today.
well, last February, actually.
For your birthday.
Yeah. We have birthdays a week apart. So Deb asked me on the day of my birthday, we're sitting around, and I said, what do you want to do for your birthday? I said, well, let's go camp. And we live in a little town called Mare, or Mare if you're a local, like a female horse. And we're about 4,500 feet. And by in February, we'll get a little bit of snow, and it had been raining a little bit, which, it was kind of coolish. So we thought we'd go do a desert camp. Let's go camp amongst the lovely saguaro. So we head kind of toward Phoenix. And went to a little area that I'd known when I was a kid, and kind of up there above Lake Pleasant, if you're familiar with that country at all. And it was a Friday. And I knew this area was, used by off-road vehicle enthusiasts and other recreators. But I thought, well, maybe we can slip in there on Friday and it'll be a nice, quiet little camp, and we'll have a good time, and then we'll just go home on Saturday before they all get there. And it pretty much worked out like that for a while. I took the van, Deb, the dog, and we go to this spot, and we find this nice little camp spot in the wash. You can camp in the washes sometimes, and we're walking around having a lovely day, and it was all pretty good until it started to get dark. And then, because it's a kind of an illegal entrance or a moderately legal entrance into a little lake called Lake Pleasant north of Phoenix then there started this kind of procession of diesel trucks, $50,000, $60,000 diesel trucks, pulling about a $500 boat on a $200 trailer, coming down the wash, going whackety, 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 whackety. And they're just constant move of them. And you would think when they got to the lake, they would have reached their destination, but that didn't seem to do it for a lot of them. They just kept driving around and around and around, and occasionally, as it got dark, they would get stuck. And you'd hear them, they'd pile out of the vehicle and okay, give her some gas, and sink that sucker deeper. And then there'd be a lot of quiet, which I took for a round of beer. Because I know when I used to get stuck, a round of beer always helped you get out, or at least not care as much that you were stuck. And then they'd start out again, and this was repeated over and over by numerous vehicles. My favorite one, though, was on about the third try that they did this. He goes, okay, you guys ready? Yeah, we're ready. I said, okay, hit it. The guy hits it like this, and you hear about three guys go, oh, as they get buried in the sand. So, well, we're sitting around the campfire now, and it's still okay. It's a little noisy, and then one of these yahoos just kind of pulls up we're just in a dry wash. It's a good 150 feet across this dry wash, maybe 200. But he sought us out in the dark. I suppose he was attracted by the light. Like them all. And just drove right up to our camp with the headlights right in front. Never gets out or anything, just kind of stops for a minute, looks, and then goes on. Now I'm starting to get kind of pissed off. So nothing much occurs. We finally go to bed. And in our old van, our sleeping situation was such that Deb and Yippee the dog usually sleep in the van, and I'd sleep out on the ground, a little more room. And along about 11, 12 o'clock, the shooting started. Just first it was just a little plinking, guys shooting at targets and stuff, and then the artillery starts to come out. A little bit bigger guns, bam! And then some automatics, bam, bam, bam! And then AK-47s, I kid you not. Bam, 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 bam. And they stopped about 3 in the morning, which was incidentally about the time that those guys stopped, kind of driving around. It got kind of quiet from about 3 to 4. I know this because I was outside pretty much awake through the whole thing. And from 3 to 4, it was kind of quiet, and I drifted off to sleep. And then about 4 in the morning, the early bird fishermen start showing up with their $60,000 diesel trucks and their $500 boats on their $200 trailers going down the thing, all whackety, 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 whackety. So I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. Comes dawn, we're up a little bit early, and kind of wondering if, how many trucks we're going to see kind of scattered around here. Stuck, and we're just kind of hanging out, having breakfast, drink coffee, throwing frisbee for the dog. And down the wash comes the high sheriff of Maricopa County in a little Blazer 4x4 thing, and he goes down the thing. And I think, well, good, he's going to go, he'll get these guys unstuck that have been out there and get all this handled, and he drives around for a few minutes, and then he drives back up, and you can see him think about, should he come over to us? Got to kind of go out of his way. I better go over there. So he comes to check us out. And the first thing he said, I'm already not in a very good mood. I haven't had a lot of sleep, and I don't do that well with authority. And as I get older, I'm even worse, because these guys are all 20, 30 years younger than me. And he comes pulling up, and he looks at the dog and said, you know, there's a leash law in Maricopa County. Okay, I'm holding my tongue. It never does any good to argue with a guy with a gun and authority. Said, okay, Yippee, get in the van. So she jumps in the van like that. She said, well, you know, there's a $200 fine for all this stuff. I said, a lot of people don't think that, you need to leash your dog out here. I said, yeah, well, I understand. And then, so what are you guys doing out here? So we're just camping. He said, do you have a permit? I said, I didn't know, I wasn't aware that I needed one. He said, well, didn't you see, he points back up the hill from whence we had come the day before. He said, didn't you see the Iron Ranger up there? I said, Iron Ranger, sir? I said, yeah, the little steel box there by the side of the thing. He said, oh, you mean that steel box up there with a sign that's all shot up? I said, yeah, that's it. I said, yeah, I wondered what that was. He said, well, yeah, you owe us $5 to camp in here, and it's a $200 fine if you don't. He said, if you wouldn't mind, I'd just soon pay the fine, or pay the thing. He said, okay, well, and Deb at some point mentions that it's my birthday, so I guess that's why I'm getting off. Because he has to look at both of our driver's license, and takes the truck license. Writes it all down, said, now, you be sure you pay this, right? Because we'll check and we'll know. Yes, sir. Sure. I don't think I said sir the whole damn time. So he drives off, having done virtually nothing. It was quiet then. Not 10 minutes after he leaves, starts the lineup of off-road vehicles, quads, dirt bikes, stand buggies, all manner of things, just start this procession down the creek. And like I said, there's lots of room there, but they seem to need to do donuts right in front of our camp, just consistently going by like that. So Deb's out there shooing them off, and finally we get pissed off enough we just leave, and on the way out, while paying the Iron Ranger our $5, because I don't want to be a criminal in my own state. Don't mind being one in your state. As Deb gets out and she's paying, and she has to cross this little dirt road, and really it's just a little junky dirt road, and three guys two on dirt bikes and one on a quad just come tearing by her. Raised dust, and they throw a rock, it almost hits the windshield. Now I'm thoroughly pissed off, and I'm gonna run these jerks down, right? Deb doesn't know this yet. So we drive off, and I'm looking for these guys, and I'm starting to drive in the middle of the road, and damn, I finally see them. They've pulled off the side here. And as I go by, they're all off and stuff. Hey guys. And I've got my window rolled down. And I just go like that and smile at them. And they go, yeah. Hey, he's flipping us off. So now I hope they're chasing me, right? No, they won't chase me. That's a good thing, because I got in trouble with my wife. And as we're going out of this thing, we pass every open spot is somebody with off-road vehicles or people shooting. And I counted them. I counted 6 AK-47s that we passed, and shotguns and all manner of 30-06s, all that kind of stuff, and just firing sort of target practice. And what was amazing to me was that these two activities were going on together. People driving around and people shooting. And why am I not scared? I should be scared, but I'm just pissed off.
Besides that, how was the trip?
Sucked. But I got this song out of it because I went home and I was really pissed off, and I got this song out of it. And We'll see if it lives up to the introduction. Can you take a little of the top off the guitar? Thank you. We're shooting up the desert tonight, down in little Iraq. Some of the boys going out there will not be coming back. They're drowned in a dry wash of shotgun shells and beer, with the sound of freedom still ringing in their ears and their ears. Now the dudes in the diesels come spoiling for a fight. They circle round the campfires hung for Friday night. Every now and then you can hear them bogging down where the sand gets soft, cussing their luck, pushing that truck that they do not dare turn off, do not dare turn off. And the moon rises yellow, hooded like a weeping eye, tired of dripping light down on the scenery sliding by, on the AK-47s and the shot-to-shit TVs, 'cause if it's shiny, we shoot at it. My country, 'tis of thee, oh my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Dawn brings the deputy to survey the battle scars, beating the thickets and writing tickets to unabandoned dogs and cars. It's the only quiet of the day, and he wants to be gone real soon. Nobody's dying to be a high sheriff of this country at high noon. The quad runners and the ghost riders start gunning their engines. Their shiny plastic helmets make them look like little aliens popping wheelies in the river bottom till the dust just chokes the air. And Mom follows behind with the sandwiches, 'cause it's a family affair. It's a family affair, yeah. My grandpa showed me this country when I was a kid. Saguaro soldiered everywhere. Now they only march on the mountains, and the few that are left down there in the flats are peppered with bullets the size of golf balls buried in the rotting wood. If you're the one with the biggest gun, I guess you just call that good. Yeah, and everyone else is evil, and everyone else is wrong. And if you won't fight for what is right, then you simply don't belong. And we do not feel for pulses, and we do not feel for pain. Pay very close attention. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain. Telling me what a fool I've been. What a fool I've been. They're shooting up the desert tonight, down in little Iraq. Some of the boys going out there will not be coming back. Drowned in a dry wash of shotgun shells and beer, with the sound of freedom still ringing in their ears and their ears. In their ears. we'll do one more here, and then we're gonna take a break. And then we'll come back and we'll do all the same songs, but we'll do them backwards, so don't leave.
And this one will wake you up.
Deb and I ran a cattle ranch for a lot of years. And I'm guessing all of you here are involved in agriculture in some fashion, right? That's what I thought. Good. Yeah, eat. Yeah, that's right. Attaboy. If you haven't been in or around agriculture, you might not know that if you're on a farm or a ranch, pretty much everything breaks, pretty much all the time. And the poorer the ranch or farm that you're on, the more things break. And oddly enough, the more things you often have to break, because you're never buying anything new. And on our ranch, there were times when the truck would break down, the trailers would break down, the horses would break down, the cows would break down, our spirits would break down. So many years after the fact, we wrote this little tune in honor of all the things that broke down on the Turkey Creek Ranch, called the Turkey Creek Breakdown.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Take a little break.
Break.
So was the food good? I never eat at shows anymore until afterwards because I had an experience once where oh, never mind. Joey said, nice set, talk less.
Thank you, Joey.
He's not the first.
No, he's not.
Talking about infinity and the Trinity and the distance that separates the three. The arcing wheel of existence of all that has been or ever will be. How we dance on the arc, we chord and we spark in a blood-rushing spin. And the spinning around makes a terrible sound, but it's only the wind. The wheel is round. The wheel is round. The wheel is round. So if there was a beginning, then there will have to be an end. But Uncle Albert taught us bravely to depend upon the bend of light when cast into space, to return to the place from whence it has come. And if that is so, tell me, where do you suppose the light came from? The wheel is round.
The wheel is round.
The wheel is round. The wheel is round. Jesus, Muhammad, Abraham, we call on you. You left us with so much work to do, but there's work to do now. There's work to do, baby. Work it out, work it out. Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the air. Four-winged beasts with burnished hoods, churning and burning up there. And they four had the face of a lion, an ox, an eagle, and a man, speaking the language of thunderbolts, so that Israel will understand the wheel is round. Ezekiel saw it, the wheel is round. Tell Israel all about it. The wheel is round. 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 Infinity is greater than zero. The wheel is round.
Thanks.
That's what I think, anyway.
Thanks.
That was called While Emma Sleeps, and was written for at a birthday party, or the night after a birthday party, where it was all adults. It was somebody's 50th birthday party, and this little, the one child that was there was 9 years old, and a precocious little 9-year-old, and did really well with the adults, but eventually she just kind of, I had staked out the only Barcalounger in the place, or the best one, and I was kind of kicked back there, and she didn't know me all that well. She just kind of crawled up in my lap and put her head in my arm like that and went to sleep. And when you don't have kids, kind of by design, you got to get your yayas on somebody else's kids. And I had a real daddy moment there. And it was really cool because I got to go up and leave then.
We spent all of spring and most of the summer in Phoenix. Yes. Not my idea of a good time, but there you go. And we were spending a lot of time taking care of some friends of ours, and they had a piano in there, and so I could put keyboards. I'd put headphones on, and I could write music and not disturb anybody. And this song kind of came out of playing around on the keyboard and being around heat all the time. But this is actually a song about my relationship to my muse, which keeps leaving me and coming back at odd times. It's called Sky. When the sky is hot and dry, I can't seem to find my way back to you. In this world, no one keeps their word, and the promised bird flies away from you. There's no sleep on this bed of nails, bitter weeping and keening wails. Ooh, 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 ooh. Water's deep and minds are weak, and the raven beaks her way back to you. Bluey bright burn the stars at night, and the blind man's light shines the way for you. Tattered prose in the silence rages, forgotten rose between the empty pages. Ooh, ooh, ooh. When the sky is clear and wide, the raven flies calling out to you. Thank you.
There's an old Zen koan that goes, what do you do before enlightenment? Chop wood, carry water. What do you do after enlightenment? Chop wood, carry water. And Deb is putting her harp in the Calgon tuning. So this is chop wood, carry water. This song is about 4 trips, or contains 4 trips, way to say that. The first trip is the last road trip I ever got to take with my dad before he passed away. And we went to Utah to go to the Olympics. And we had some beverage issues. It being a Mormon state and all. But not necessarily the ones you would think. And then the second trip is ostensibly a fishing trip in southern Ohio. Third trip is a kind of a metaphorical trip. It involves mushrooms. And the fourth one was just the final trip. It's called Walking in the State, and it has a chorus, and if you were in a sing-along mood, this would be the time to open that up. Walking in the State. The week I turned 50, my dad called to say, hey, wouldn't it be nifty to go to the Olympics? And by the way, he had some tickets. Would I want to go? I could not say no. We swapped stories on the drive up to the Beehive State. Stopped at the Big Rock Candy Mountain with a special lunch plate. When Dad orders pie and coffee, I just can't wait to see what the waitress will bring. What she brings is an oil slick in a dirty white cup and a blackened sugared mask with whipped cream all piled up. Dad sips without looking and damn near spits back up. Good Mormon coffee. Oh, we had nothing but fun all around the Great Salt Lake. Watching bobsled and slalom, we even saw Sarah Hughes take the gold medal in women's figure skating, and the ice was on fire. And in the flow of electricity that surged out on the street, we got so busy having a good time, we forgot just exactly where we're supposed to meet the car. Now we're the last 2 pair of Gentile feet lost in Zion, walking in the state of, walking in the state of, walking in the state of grace, walking in the state of, walking in the state of, walking in the state of. Out on Lake Catherine in southern Ohio with my friends Uncle Tim and Ronnie the Bipo. They're excited to be going fishing. Telling me about all the 1 fish, 2 fish, sunfish, bluefish we're gonna catch. Well, I said I made my peace with the fishes a long time ago, but I'll take you anywhere on this lake you want to go. So we head out in Georgia's gorgeous handmade Chesapeake Bay Ducker, and that's a good boat to row. But come late in the afternoon, setting at yet another hole where the fish still aren't biting and the beer's no longer cold, I'm sprawled across the gunnels and I got myself a hold of a mighty righteous condition. And just after the two naked girls roll by. But before Uncle Tim says, hey, let's give someplace else a try, I step out on the water, my feet are perfectly dry, and I walk to the girls. I'm walking in the state of, walking in the state of, walking in the state of grace. Walking in the state of, walking in the state of, I'm walking in the state of grace. Moonless night on Perry Mesa, not far from home. I'm camped out by myself because I need to be alone to meet with someone else's ancestors in the hopes of being shown the secret to life. Well, I waited all night for those guys to appear, but they never showed. Although I did happen to hear two owls talking shop. They whispered in my ear until I fell to sleep. When I awoke, I saw the spider in the southwestern sky spinning stars that spilled like beads out on a desert so dry it crackled with connection to everything alive. This is Spider-Woman. She felt a whole lot like love and a little bit like death. I start to take the plunge, then I catch my breath, and suddenly I'm up traipsing through the surrounding luminescence. I'm walking in the state of, walking in the state of, walking in the state of grace. Yeah, walking in the state of, walking in the state of, I'm walking in the state of grace. You wanna know what I think happens when we die? Some of us get to go swim in the ocean, and some of us get to fly, and some of us get baked in a blackbird pie in the image of the Virgin. And whoever eats that pie will fertilize the ground, and that will grow a tree, and that tree will make a sound in the forest when it falls, whether I'm around to hear it or not. So you can stand over my grave and sing this song if you can remember the damn thing. It's been so long to know you, to love you, to have even been along on this trip through stars. Walking in the state of, walking in the state of, walking in the state of grace. Walking in the state of, walking in the state of, I'm walking in the state of grace. Oh, walking in the state of, walking in the state of, we're all walking in the state of grace. 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 Thank you. You guys were great.
Sounded so nice.
Yeah. Get your little squeeze box. We had a request.
Okay.
We had a request. We had the two requests, and they were for the same song. And and one of them was made by Joey, so we're going to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stump the squeeze box player.
I think Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon.
It is a pleasure to be playing for you guys tonight. This is one of our favorite gigs. And,
This is also Old Home Week. Don's buddy from high school, Doug, is here. Our buddies from Arizona are here. And where to go? There is Bart and I were in 5th grade together. And I think
and they graduated. Yeah. Way to go, you guys.
And the last time I saw Bart was probably one of the high school reunions, 10 or something like that. So it's been 1 or 2 years. And apparently he just lives down the street.
I may have asked you this before. Could you please explain how you got your name, D squared?
Oh,
Don and Deb.
Oh.
actually, somebody called us that socially, and we were our first CD there. That is our first CD and our third CD. Our second one is missing. It'll be out again in a couple months. And the third one there is a Grand Canyon compilation thing put out by the Smithsonian that this song that we're going to do is on. We were very pleased to have it included. And why was I telling them that?
D squared.
Oh, D squared, thank you. So we had this name, or we were Don Charles and Deb Gessner, but we consistently got introduced wrong. By friends, even. Here they are, ladies and gentlemen, Deb Charles and Don Gessner. So we had a friend that called us D squared socially. We thought, well, that's a good name. So when we did the second CD, we did that. And the very first gig we have under our name, D squared, this guy in California, someplace south of here, in Southern California, so you know. And he gives us this great introduction, makes us sound way better than we are. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Square D. So I just quit,
It's not because we're so mathematical. I guarantee you.
Give me your G. Close enough. Close enough. We'll be gone after this.
Run!
So, thank you for showing up tonight on a Wednesday night. I mean, I know Joey's shows are on Wednesday night, but that's always amazed me that people show up on a Wednesday night. This is our hit. We're going to do you our hit. Every band has at least one hit, and this is ours. And it's about the Grand Canyon and going down it in a raft. Okay, there you go. Okay, Grand Canyon. Another chorus singing one word. You won't have any trouble figuring it out. There's no stronger wind to blow than the one that blows tonight up the canyon from the desert. Hey, it don't know wrong from right. It don't give a damn about your convictions. What did you endorse? You run up your abstractions. It'll blow you plumb off course. You better roll. From the snow melt in the Rockies, from the San Juan and the Green, the Colorado herds are children like souls into the stream. You can take the wild ride if you choose, flush like so much sand, but keep your eyes peeled downstream. This ain't Disneyland. You better row, 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 row. That's your part. You better row, 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 row. Here we go. Now the river rocks and rumbles as it rolls down through the ages, shatters any sense of scale when it turns back the pages. And the ruins of your history, civilizations in their prime, they are swept into an eddy. They were just a wink in time. You better roll. So if time is what you're after, that's what you think you lack. Hey, take all the time you want here, might not be coming back. You can lift your eyes and wonder as you drift from shore to shore. when the river snakes its savage tongue, you better grab an oar. You better row, 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 row. You better row, 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 row. Look out. Did you think that you could come here, fail to be impressed with the terrifying beauty of the earth when she's undressed? Did her passion leave you breathless? Did you find the truth you seek? When you hit the hole at lava falls, was it difficult to speak? Well, you better roll. Well, it's an adolescent fantasy, and we really ought to lose it, 'cause acting like we're in control, we're destined to abuse it. But the lyric that the rocks will echo long into the night. You may dare to dam the river, but you cannot stem the tide. You better row, 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 row. You better row, 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 row. Well, I know you know the parable of the sailors out at sea. There were 4 men with guns. There was room for only 3. And if, my friend, you don't believe we're all in that same boat, how long can you tread water? Yeah, how long are you gonna stay afloat? You better row. Thank you. Thanks.
All right.